The sub-zero temperatures throughout much of the country are a result of the polar vortex, defined as a giant frigid cyclone of sorts that swirls around the North Pole. But this year, portions of the polar vortex dipped southward into the U.S. Meanwhile, San Diego faces its third year of drought. Here with details on the local impact of climate and weather conditions are Daniel Kahan, research meteorologist at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, and Eric Larson, executive director of the San Diego Farm Bureau. Welcome to Evening Edition.
Thanks, Vicki.
Thank you.
Now, Dan, how is this dry weather here in San Diego connected, if it is, to the polar vortex?
It's very connected. The high pressure situation we have here in the west is kind of goes hand in hand with this low pressure and very cold cyclone that you mentioned that's plaguing the eastern part of the country.
Now, you've said that this current weather pattern, though, whether the vortex is coming down or not, and sort of this dryness, is not really related to climate change.
Well, California is notoriously volatile, and we've had many instances in the past where we've had extended dryness here in the state, and this is, I think, one of those situations. Even with climate change, we're going to continue to have these anomalies, either extremely dry or extremely wet, that ride on top of climate change. But in this case, I think that most of this can be attributed to the natural variability of the climate system.
I see. Now, Eric, as California moves into what's being called its third year of drought, a number of growers and water district representatives actually asked the governor to proclaim a drought emergency. How would a drought declaration of that actually help the state?
Yeah, if that happens, it might give the governor the capacity to set aside some regulations and rules that restrict the shipment of some water to places like farms in the San Joaquin Valley or into Southern California. So he could set those rules aside. They're basically made to protect the environment and allow that water to be sent to us, and also put in place the ability for some municipalities and water districts to declare an emergency and restrict water use, such as outdoor watering.
Yeah, we've experienced that before. What kind of impact is this particular drought having on growing operations here in the county?
Yeah, for San Diego County, the real impact we've had is the cattle growers. We have a lot of cattle ranchers out in East County, and so they don't have as much feed available they normally have to keep their stock healthy and growing, so they've had to sell some stock early or perhaps raise fewer calves than they normally would. But the real impact has been on the tree fruit growers who are having to buy more water, which is very, very expensive and threatens their livelihood because there's been so little rain.
So they have to purchase it because they can't rely on this.
That's
so
correct.
Speaking of rain, Dan, it was foggy this morning. There was a 20% chance of rain, they said today. When can we expect to see, or can we expect to see, any real rain anytime soon here?
Well, I think it's important to say that the winter's only half over, and our opportunity for rainfall here in California is basically from November through March. So we do have a couple months left. There's nothing in the immediate future that we can see in the real reliable weather forecast. 5
to 7 days out.
Yeah, exactly. But beyond there, it wouldn't be surprising if the westerlies broke through and we did get some storms. We'll wait and see. And of course, what we're hoping for is a period where we really have a few days of rainfall, so we can really build up that soil moisture that the growers and farmers that Eric's talking about are really wanting to have.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Eric, there's been some real concern that this drought is impacting the food supply coming from California. We're a major provider to the rest of the country. Do you expect less produce to come out of the San Diego County area to go out to the rest of the nation?
Well, in the short term, not out of San Diego County, because it looks like we're okay because of the water we have in storage to carry us through this next year. But in other parts of California, especially the San Joaquin Valley, that is a real, fruit and vegetable basket for the whole nation. Their allocation for this year is only 5% of the water they've ordered. So we could see some crops not being planted, some permanent crops like almonds taken out of production.
Okay, well, Eric Larson and Daniel Kahan, thank you so much for this update.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.